Okay, be honest. Who else wakes up with their heart filled with dread because it's content creation day? This morning, after dragging myself out of bed and caffeinating, immediately my brain went to that place. What am I going to wear? Do I dare show my real living space, or do I need to deep clean every countertop, top and nook and cranny so that it looks like a magazine spread? Don't even get me started on makeup because apparently my no makeup face isn't trending yet. All of that just to record a 7-second video, slap on what I hope is an attention grabbing hook, and pray for likes and engagement while secretly thinking, who even cares what I post today? Well, Jennifer and I are finally ripping off the filter. We're diving into social media burnout today, how to spot it, survive it, and swing back to sharing your story without all the stress. So, Jennifer, tell me, when was the last time your feed felt more like fun and less like a to do list?
Gosh, it has been years. It has been
Really?
years.
Years?
Yeah,
Wow.
I think so. I would say a couple of years for me. How about you?
I think that it's been fun at times and then not so fun at times, kind of depending on what was going on in life.
Yeah, that's a big statement right there, for
Yeah, it
sure.
is. I mean,
I
go
don't
ahead.
know that it's supposed to feel fun all the time, but I do feel like there's a moment when you start to catch your breath. Like you start to go, I can't breathe anymore. For me, that was mine. That was mine.
Yeah,
Like I don't know how to possibly breathe through the scenarios that I need to go through. And with algorithms changing all the time and we're now focused on this and we're not focused on that and then you need to post this many times, there came a point and maybe it's my midlife brain, but just boom, somehow
yeah.
in my head, you know?
Yeah. I
You?
remember years ago when I first joined Facebook. Remember it was this
About
like,
that.
it was just felt new and you go on there and you see people you hadn't seen in a while and you'd post what you ate at the restaurant that night. And
Yeah,
it
yeah,
just seemed like there was no pressure. And then you start really trying to dig in and you're like, well, if I'm going to be here, I want to be good at it. So let me try to dig into what I need to do, what the expectations are to actually be successful at promoting something on social media.
yeah.
And then it just comes with all sorts of like rules and pressure. And yes, you said it. I need to post this many times a day. It needs to grab their attention in 5 seconds and it needs to be this and it needs to be that. And all of a sudden it's not fun anymore.
No, no, I don't think so. Here's the thing. I think if you're coming at it from a sit back and observe position, it's a much better place to be, I think.
Yeah.
But then when you go into the standpoint of wanting to help people, and so you go to do that thing that you're supposed to help with, for me, it was makeup, skincare. At the beginning when I was doing it, it wasn't that big of a deal because there were not very many women in my age bracket who were doing what I was doing. And I could be free to, and nobody had so many rules. So it was just like a free flowing kind of like a joyful thing. And then after time, it started to become this, oh my gosh, I'm not going to put enough, what was it the first time, the hashtags, I'm not going to put enough hashtags in, so they're
Right.
not going to be seen, then I need to post 3 times a day, or I'm not going to be seen, etc. So how do I build my group of people? If we're playing a board game, I'm a competitor.
Yeah.
I will try to win that game with everything in my power. But when it comes to everyday life, I am not competitive. I'm just not. I want like joy and love for everybody. So
Yeah.
it begins to feel that way for me.
I used to be a lot more competitive. I think age has just taken that away. Like I don't care as much anymore about it.
Right. Isn't that the goal? They say that we're supposed to learn that at some point, but
Yeah.
it is legitimately supposed to
Yeah.
leave us and we're just happy.
I hope so. I think two pivotal things happened to me in my social media journey, and both of them were a couple of years ago. One was a really good friend of mine. He's very outdoors active, and he would post things he was doing outdoors, and I found it fascinating. And it was noticeable when he stopped posting, and I reached out to him and I said, "Hey, I haven't seen you online. Like we used to work together, and so we talked all the time, and now it's been just reduced to what I see on social media." I'm like, "Hey,
Yeah.
where are you? Where's your stuff online?" And he admitted to me, and I thought this was really brave and vulnerable of him. He admitted to me that he couldn't take the pressure of it because he would post something, and then if it didn't get like a lot of likes or views or comments or anything, he would get really self conscious and take it down. And I was like, really?
Really? Well,
The in-person person I knew and that person that was saying that to me felt like two different people. I kind of tucked that one away because I didn't feel that way at that time. And then the second thing that really kind of caught me off guard was a woman I knew that had posted on Facebook, and she said, I had to get off of Pinterest because I felt bad about myself looking at everybody else's beautiful homes that they were posting on their
yeah, yeah,
whatever we
yeah.
call it, Pinterest.
When you said Pinterest, my eyes are like, what? Pinterest? That's a fun place. But I could see that now that you say it that way for sure.
Really? Because I was taken off guard because I was like, that that makes you feel bad about you, but, like, isn't it what we're striving for? I mean, like, that's why I go on Pinterest. I'm, like, looking for inspiration.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, same.
if I see like a recipe or like, a particular decorated room, I have all sorts of boards on there for this house that we're building because I want to be able to visualize what it might look like when we're done. I'm not going on there to beat myself up, but I am trying to hold space for the people who do feel like that. It's just that at that time in my life, when I heard those two different people saying that, it just really caught me off guard.
Yeah. I
Wow.
honestly, when you said that, I could see it because I think, we were looking, you and I were looking at some stats. We were just talking about that this morning. They did this survey of 6,000 users, and 52% of them said that they were exhausted by self promotion. That's another area right there. We'll come back to that.
Yeah.
9% said that they had negative mental health effects after only 38 minutes online, and 59% said they felt bombarded by ads and polished posts. And there you go, right there. This is a huge chunk of people who actually feel that. Like they look at the post and they go, oh man, that is a gorgeous room. That is a beautiful, but I can't duplicate that, or I can't possibly attain to that, whether that's financial or I don't have the creativity. Yet you're seeing it like what you should be attaining to, what you should be trying to go for, what you should. The thing falls into makeup, hair, fitness, eating well. What else could we come up with? There's like a million of them. So,
I remember, like, a year or so ago, I guess it's been now, I saw a woman that I've followed for years on social media, and she does look, I mean, like, she looks like she has the perfect life. The good
yeah,
husband,
right.
the chickens, she works out and she looks so cute in her workout
It's
stuff.
chickens.
And she's just a very attractive woman, and she's very charismatic when she does her videos online. And anyway, I was curious about it. It's digital marketing, and I was curious about it, what she was doing, and I reached out to her, and I had 3 reasons why I said I couldn't do it. I said, I don't have a nice house. I was living in a rental house, and I felt like there were some things out of my control about that house. So to see it in the background, I was like, I don't know if embarrassed is the right word, but I just didn't feel like it was representing what I would want to represent. So that was one. Doing hair and makeup every day, it's just a theme for me. I just don't want to do hair and makeup every day. And the third thing was I have such a dull life. Like, what could I possibly find to talk about every single day? The pressure to have an interesting life. And so this is kind of a funny little side note to this story, but it's not funny at all. With that in mind, that I feel like I don't really have enough going on in my life besides building a house to talk about. So the other day I told you I went to Tucson. I was making my trip to Costco, and I was going to, make it an even better day by getting a massage. And I'm on my way there. I'm at the stoplight, turning left, and I'm looking at my gas light came on saying I needed gas. And I'm looking at the map, seeing how many more miles I have to go before I get to Costco, because that's where I was going to buy my gas. So I'm not paying attention to anything. The light had just turned, so I was sitting there stopped. I'm looking at my screen to check the map, and all of a sudden, bam, I get rear-ended.
No, you did. What? I don't even know about this. What?
I know, I got rear-ended. And there
Are
was
you
like
okay? Number one.
yesterday I was not. Yesterday I had a very stiff neck and a headache all day. I think the massage probably helped because I did still had my massage appointment, and he worked on my neck and my upper back, which was where I immediately kind of felt all the jerk
Whoa.
from being hit from behind. But there was this moment, this like flash through my brain because of all the conditioning that I feel like we all have for social media, that I was like, hey, this is something actually interesting that happened to me
Oh my
today.
God.
And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, this is an accident. This isn't that
You
interesting.
know, that is okay. First of all, I'm really sorry about your accident. Number
Thank
one,
you.
first and foremost, I'm glad you're safe.
Yes.
We'll talk more off air.
Offline. Yeah.
In the gosh darn no, I think that you're right. And here's the thing: if I had to bet, knowing you, the reason why you were like, "Wow, this is pathetic," is because we've actually seen that. We've seen people who use every situation, whether good or bad, to elevate their social media status because it works. It
It
works.
does. It
But
does.
it doesn't mean that it's healthy, and it doesn't mean that it's good for your inner soul or that it's
Yeah.
good for other people. Now, when you shared it with me, I look at it like I'm your friend. And luckily for us, I think we both have this community mindset. And so if our friends online who are hearing this even were to say, oh my gosh, are you okay? There's that
Right.
genuine connection. So there is some part of that that's healthy. But then
Yeah,
there's the
and
other side.
I know that people, and it goes back to the vulnerability thing we've talked about before. Like, you want to show up authentically. You want to show up authentically online and be vulnerable. And you hear people say, like, when you just put aside like all of the stage stuff and all that and just show up maybe in a story or something and say, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe this just happened. I just got in a car accident," whatever. Like, people want to know, they want to feel like they know you. So this woman that I was saying that I followed for years, like, you follow somebody for that long and you've never met them in person and you haven't really had that genuine conversation like you and I've had to build our friendship, but you do sort of get this sense when they share enough of their life that you kind of know them.
You do. I watch some of the large people who are out there and they've got their huge following, millions. And then they talk occasionally about somebody who showed up at the airport and recognized them and, was really sweet and everything, but they don't really know them. They
Right.
don't really know them. And
But they feel like they do.
right, they do. And would I might feel the same way, like I'd be like, "No, no, no, we're friends because I've watched you for 2 years on social media and I know what you like to eat and what you hate. So, I know who you are." Doesn't actually hold true. It's
Right.
like a we as a society, I think the more we catapult in this direction, sometimes it freaks me out because it takes away that genuine thing that we have when we're in person. We have the ability to. With that said, and I think like that's the only thing we'll end up with is like virtual friendships, But with that said, would you and I have ever met had we not been on social media doing what we do?
I know, it's so true, right? It's that conundrum. It is the conundrum of liking the ability to stay in touch with people that you don't see and talk to very much. Like,
Yeah.
I think when I go on Facebook, which I don't go on Facebook very often, like I'm probably more Instagram or YouTube, but when I do go on Facebook, it's intentional because I know I'm going to see friends from like way back when. Like all my way
Right.
back when friends are on Facebook, high school friends, that kind of thing. People I've worked with, that type of thing. Instagram is a little different. It's more of my business friends, my internet friends that I've made since doing like the podcast or digital marketing or whatever. So, there is a purpose for each one of those things for me. And I don't necessarily want to give them up. But so let's talk about like where we got to the point where we just like, I just can't do this anymore. Was it a moment or did it just sort of gradually happen or how'd you get there? Because how long has it been since you've been really active now on social media?
It's so embarrassing. I feel like it's embarrassing because here I am. It's right now been about 5 months.
Months.
Yeah. Which it's like dramatic in social media world because you
It
have to
is.
you
It's
have to
like,
build and maintain. And so then when
yeah,
you drop out, you have to decide what that's about. But here's the thing. So you asked me before, like, how long has it been since it's been fun? And I said, probably a couple of years. Here's the reason why it became tough for me. You and I were talking about this the other day before we did this topic. The thing that really got to us was the fact that we were kind of conversing about our exhaustion and we were talking about how we don't really want to come back right now. Really, I don't want to be on social media. It's so much pressure. It's just, and you mentioned the coffee. You said a friend, you had seen somebody who was talking about their coffee. Now they're like in the morning, they're about ready to put their coffee. How did you tell the story? Because I can't remember all the
yeah.
details, but
So she was just saying, you feel like every moment from the moment you get out of bed and you got your coffee in your hand or you're doing something, you feel like, I should stop right now and set up my camera. I should capture this moment. You're always feeling like, I need to, and we call it B-roll in the social media world, right? Where you're capturing these little moments that can make a good backdrop for talking about something else that you want to talk about. These little interesting things you're doing, looking out into the distance, sipping your coffee or curling your hair or putting your makeup on or, walking your dog or, and so you catch yourself always being on, should I capture this moment? Should I capture this moment? And she did a pretty long post about it. I should have actually grabbed it and read it to y'all, but she just said, you just get to this moment where you feel like, where am I just being in my own life without worrying about bringing other people into it? Where am I
it
drawing the
is
line where it's
so
just sitting down and having
accurate.
coffee?
Right. I
Yeah.
just want to wake up and just have coffee.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, though, you actually shared a reel with me that I want everybody to see because it was the absolute truth, 100% on how we feel about social media after, well, we've both been in it for at least 5 years, right?
Yep. Let's play it.
You gotta post something.
What am I gonna post
They
today?
say just post the
My
content.
content sucks.
Post 3 times a day.
Post once and let it breathe.
Be consistent.
I mean, isn't that the truth? Like it almost is like I could hear that in my head when I saw
Every
that
damn
video.
day, I hear that in my head when I'm doing regular social media. And I have to say, when you sent it to me, I actually, you know, one of those laughters that you have when you laugh because you can't believe how real that was? That
Yes,
was my
I
face. Like
do.
I was laughing, like, oh my gosh, this is the absolute truth about how it feels. And what was funny about it is, you know how when you watch a reel, it'll just keep looping,
Keep
looping, looping.
moving.
And the more it looped, the more I laughed, and the more I was like, oh my gosh, how could something so simple be the thing that actually is the truth? And that is the truth. There's no doubt about it. When I was thinking about why I left in December, it came down to I'm exhausted. If I have to,
But not physically exhausted, right? Are you saying mentally?
that's a good question. I think it's both physical and mental at some point
Mm,
because I think it takes it out of us as people. And I can't imagine anybody who's ever done social media for a length of time not bumping into this. I really do believe this is an actual validity that people need to come to terms with. I wonder how some content people just keep going and going and going. They either have a type A where it's just I'm a drill sergeant for it, that's fine. And that's a personality that I love, but it's also a personality that I'm not. And so for me, authenticity is way more important to me than a dollar sign, which is why I was doing business. And having a relationship with people is way more important than that. And acknowledging that not every part of my life belongs to everybody is another chunk of it.
well, especially when you feel like I was saying on Facebook, it's so staged. Is this really my
Yeah.
life? Whole life is staged for the moments I might be able to post
Yeah.
on social media?
Yeah.
What part
You
of me
know,
is
those
real and what part of me is just, preparing to put this online for everybody to
for
see and
real,
comment and like and
those reels where the people sit down and they're crying about
oh my
something.
gosh. That's
And
so
all
cringy to me.
the
That's so
part that
cringy.
Do you know how long it actually took me to think about this? And it was somebody's like sentence that I went, oh, yeah. Like they had to go get the camera and then set the camera up and then cry in front of the camera and then edit it with all this background music and all the other things, the words, etc., that had to come with it. And after all of that, I went, wait a minute. I had just gotten sucked into, and there isn't a person out there who isn't creating in some way like that. Like where you set the camera down, you do the work, you film what you're doing, and then you come back and you edit. In fact, some of that, you asked about physical exhaustion. I think there is a physical exhaustion, not like you've gone out and chucked wood or something, but like a
Right.
physical exhaustion in the fact that you're sitting there with your you and me with our glasses, just a constant looking at our phone, editing the material that we are going to put together to make a reel that we hope will be successful in some way.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
And I heard this guy on YouTube yesterday saying it's not the social media that we started out with back, I'll go back to my Facebook days, trying to show up so that people remembered I was there kind of
Right?
thing, that was the goal, like just remind people I'm here, kind of thing. But he said that's not the social media that we have today. Today is not so much social as it is just media. And I was like, oh, that
That's a
is
very good
true.
point.
That is
That's a very
true.
good point. If you could do it all over again, knowing, because so we came at this very differently. I came at it saying, how can I effectively help women with feeling beautiful? Because I know what it feels like to not feel pretty, and then knowing the power of good skincare and good makeup, and knowing that I could affect somebody in my age bracket who had no idea that if they went to Sephora, that it would suck when the 20-year-old said, that jar over there will help you. And she knows nothing of my dry skin and patchy, whatever. It's the whole thing.
Yeah, yeah.
So I come in with that motivation.
I mean, okay, so depends on where we're talking about. If we're talking about like the podcast, my helping people was offline. For the most part, it was on the podcast. It wasn't in front of a camera because in the
Right.
early days, I didn't even do video. So I was just on there trying to drive people over to my podcast, right?
Yeah.
So what happened with that part of social media for me was just doing the podcast, which, you and I maybe have to do an episode one day about this, about your feelings about maybe 3 or 6 months from now, how you feel about
Yeah.
podcasting. But there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes,
Oh my
people,
gosh, way more than I thought.
Yeah.
Way more.
And I was doing everything from start to finish by myself. And by the time I got done with all of that, I didn't have a lot of energy left for the social media part.
Yeah.
So even though I really did have a strong desire to connect with my audience, and I thought the right way to do that was through social media, it became just another thing to do. And I just couldn't do it anymore. I just couldn't
Yes.
do it. I was trying to DIY all the little steps to learn to
Yeah.
make all of this kind of go together. And I just was like, I just can't. I don't have the energy to do this.
Yeah.
didn't understand enough to know how do you promote a podcast on social media. And there are many experts, quote unquote, out there that will tell you that you don't really promote a podcast on social media. Whether that's true or not, we'll see. We'll see how that
Yeah,
goes.
we're testing that theory right now. But where you came from and where I came from, it's like we both kind of hit a wall.
Yeah.
How long have you been off?
So I was doing digital marketing and I did it pretty solid for like a year. I was on every single day. And then there
Yeah,
were
you were.
times when I would batch. And so I would have some saved up and I wouldn't
Right.
necessarily create the same day I released it, but I was always doing what my friend talked about was always like thinking, oh, I'm dressed today and I have makeup on and I did my hair. I should try to capture a couple different moments for a B-roll. And I did that. I was consistent for a year. And then Brian and I went to Utila in February. And I said to myself, I'm not really gonna probably post anything during our 2-week vacation, but I am going to probably collect some video that I can use when I get back home and I get back into it. I was legit going to give myself a 2-week vacation starting the end of February, going into like March 12th, somewhere around in there. And I haven't gotten back into it. I couldn't, I don't know what it is. Like,
Yeah.
Jennifer, I developed this thing years ago and I call it MRR, minimum required effort. It's like if I don't feel like doing something, like if I just wake up and I feel kind of blah that day, okay, what's my minimum required effort for the day? I'm going to make my bed. I'm going to, and I give myself 2 or 3 things.
That's an
Get on the
interesting idea.
I'm going to get on the treadmill for, maybe
Yeah.
10 minutes, whatever it is. So I am pretty disciplined, but I don't know what it is. I cannot make myself go back to that grind. I just can't. We will get back to it because we want to promote our podcast and we want to
Absolutely.
get it out there. But let me ask you a question. Since you've been offline since December, what do you think your like immediate emotional reaction was to taking a pause, doing a detox? Is
Well,
what
I,
they
I
call it.
kind of freaked out because I've tried to take pauses in the past that were lengthy, but they were never this long. And internally, let me tell you what happens. The moment that I do it, I'm like, crap, tomorrow morning I got to get up and I got to make something. I got to do something. I can't do this. I can't do that. No, I need a break. No, I can't do this. No, I need a break. No, I can't do this. And so for me, it just started to compound. And what I realized this round, what this really, really expanded in my world was that I was not, and when I say this round, I mean like, you've been with me long enough as my friend. You've heard me talk about this years past where I'm like, man, I'm tired. I'm exhausted. I don't want to do this anymore. So what I realized in this was that I really just wanted more. Like I realized that part of the fatigue that I've been feeling, part of the like anxiety that I've been feeling is that I wanted something more than that. I spent a lot of time like talking to God about it and just being like, God, what do you want me to do that is more substantive than putting on makeup and putting on skincare? While I love those things and while they absolutely help women all over the place because we all want to feel beautiful, there's still that mode of the back of my brain like, yeah, you probably have a little bit more to say than that. And I do.
I know you have said that to me for probably, what do you think, a year? You've said that to me a lot of times over a year. And I don't want you to discard like the value though of what you've brought to a lot of women because I've learned so many things from you about makeup and skincare.
Thank you. Thank
So
you.
I don't want you to like totally ignore the value you've brought, but I understand also the thought of like if you're going to do something, if you're going to spend your time doing it, you want to feel like you're doing it for like
Yeah.
you're bringing your full purpose into the
Yeah.
world.
Yeah, and also I kind of realized that for me, like, so when you're doing anything on social, you know that you have to repeat, 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 repeat,
Yeah.
repeat. And that is very helpful for the new people who show up, but it's not as much helpful for anybody who's been there a while. And well, sometimes it is. I'm not gonna lie. There's been some people that I've watched say things and I'll be like, oh yeah, they said that before. And then I just forgot about it. And then they, you kind of move forward. And there's some helpfulness in it. You're right. But when you get to the like core of who you are and you sort of look at that and you go, what's really bothering me here? It isn't the fact that I have to share makeup or have chosen to share makeup over and over again. It isn't the fact that there's a new product here and a new product there. It is the fact that I enjoy all that. Don't get me wrong, I love that stuff.
Yeah. And you're so good at it.
But there's a place in my soul that was like, I need more. I just need more. And
Yeah.
that could be the case for a lot of people because who are built on the idea of authenticity
Yes.
because we just end up going, what does this really mean to me? Is this meaningful to me in a way that I can give to somebody else? Can I share that? Is this actually meaning as much as I want it to mean? And I have to tell you, at the beginning of doing social media, it did. It felt that way. I was clearly ready to share something because it meant so much to me that I had found something that actually made a difference.
Yeah. And you were super excited about it. So that
Right.
brings a lot of energy.
Yeah. But then over time, you
Yeah. Over
just
time it
go.
starts to wane. And
Right.
for me, like my husband, he's not super thrilled. I mean, he loves that I'm doing the podcast again. He loves that. He's so excited about that for me.
He's
I think
so
he was,
supportive.
and yeah, I think he was not supportive of the digital marketing because he doesn't understand, first of all, the purpose behind it. Actually, I would love our audience to tell us what is the real reason that you spend time on social media? What is it that makes you pick up your phone? Is it seriously just doom scrolling? I think is what they call it.
What is that?
Doom scrolling. That's when you just like pick up your phone and you don't even like, you're not even like mentally aware you're picking up your phone. You just pick it up and you're just scrolling for no purpose whatsoever, just to entertain yourself or to get that dopamine hit. At least that's what I think doom
Wait,
scrolling
wait,
is.
wait. Why is it called Doom?
I don't know. This is a
It's
Google
interesting.
question.
Okay, we'll Google that later. But I mean,
My
maybe it's
husband
because
will,
it never ends anywhere good.
well, I mean, he just likes to be entertained. I think his sole purpose is to be entertained. And that's why I think it would be so interesting for our audience to tell us, like, why
Yeah,
do they get on social media?
I'd love to know that.
But here's the thing, I'm not on it as much as he is, but when I get on there, I immediately feel something inside. Like I feel a change, a shift in my thoughts and my energy because this is what I think is going to happen. I think, oh my gosh, I'm going to learn something and I'm going to have to do something with that. Like one of my top probably three values is continuous learning. I love to learn. I'm a
Okay. Okay,
knowledge
I could see that.
junkie. I love learning stuff, but it also comes with a fair amount of pressure and stress because I feel like once I learn it, what am I going to do with it? Am I going to So go back like years ago when I was very first starting my insurance agency. I was part of this networking group and there was this life coach in my networking group. I won some free life coaching sessions from him. And during the course of our life coaching and talking to him, one of the things that he kind of pulled out was that I do love to learn things and then share that with other people. That's like one of my things. So
So if you get on and you mindlessly scroll, you're concerned that you might learn something and then not do something with it.
no, I'm not concerned that I won't do something with it. I'm concerned that more things will pile in after it and I'll forget about that first thing that I thought was so important. Like I'll watch YouTube videos to help us get better at podcasting or
You're
editing or
incredible at that. Yeah.
marketing or whatever. And I'll go, oh, that's good. I want to remember that and I want to like, put that into practice. But then like 5 videos later, because I'm on my treadmill and I can't do anything about it while I'm on my treadmill, 5 videos later, that first one kind of got buried and pushed down to the bottom. And then there's this like it's almost like feeling of stress, like what was I supposed to remember about that? And I wanted to tell Jennifer about that, or I wanted to write that down, or like
I
figure out how we can
Yeah.
incorporate that particular thing. So whenever I pick up the phone or get on my treadmill and start, like I love to watch YouTube shorts while I'm on my treadmill. It's like one of my favorite things to do. But keeping in mind what I just said, I've kind of switched over to watching like HGTV episodes or something that I can just enjoy and not have to worry about remembering.
Where it's not a source for you. It's a new one for me. So, for our listeners, I have found that Terry and I are very alike in a lot of ways, but we have definite differences in the way that we see things. And this would be one of them because I never have that. But I like if I save it and I never go back to it, I'm not upset about it. I just forget that I even saved it. And then I go back and I'm like, check that out. I forgot to put this on there.
Exactly.
It's not that big of a thing for me. But I will tell you that, like, one of the things that so you just brought up a whole point. Like, I'd love to hear from people who feel this way about it too, because this has got to be somewhat of a personality thing in your search for knowledge and your ideals. Like, I would love to hear from other people who feel the same exact way. Do you fall in her camp, my camp, or do you fall in some other camp that we've never even, like, I just learned something totally new about you I had no clue about. That's always exciting. And then it now makes me wonder, like, will I start looking at social in that way where I start to go, if I don't look at it, like, will I start to think like you in that way? Oh, should she
So
be
where
stressed about?
why are you on there? Why are you on there if you're not?
It's generally speaking, okay, if you go on my social, you'll see I do not follow a lot of people. I am very, you know, my favorite things to do?
Mm.
Unfriend people. And I don't mean that like in a mean way. Like, I don't mean like unfriend. I mean like unfollow. I guess you should say unfollow, not unfriend. Facebook would
Yeah,
be
I was
unfriend,
just
right?
wondering that this morning because I looked at my Instagram account this morning, and since I've taken my detox or been on my hiatus, I have lost so many followers. And I thought to myself, I wonder what makes somebody unfollow somebody just because I haven't posted anything for a while. Like, it's not like I said something offensive because I haven't said anything at all. So what's
Right.
making people unfollow?
Believe me, while I've taken my head, it's the same thing has happened. But I will say this. I have to believe that everybody's different about it. I just do. For me, if I don't connect with their thoughts anymore, their ideas, maybe
Yeah.
what used to like we used to have a like a mind brain connection thing that they
Yeah.
didn't know about, but I did. If I don't by the way, then I will like, oh, it's not really helping me anymore, really. Or if they are just like I've sometimes occasionally followed people that eventually they turn into somebody new. And I'll be like, what? I really don't like this new you. This is a different personality than I originally followed you for, or I'm seeing something that is going in a way that I'm like, no, 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 thank you. Bye. It's the unfollow bit. Okay. But I do get on because you asked me why. I get on because just I want to see what's happening. I want to see okay, there's this one girl
FOMO.
that I've
FOMO.
what?
Fear of missing
No, no,
out.
no, 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 no. I
No?
am what's the opposite of FOMO? What is it that they say? The joy JOMO. I have JOMO. I
What's
have
JOMO?
joy. JOMO is the joy of missing out.
I've
I
never
get
heard
very
that
joyful.
before.
I don't need to be in all the things, but because I get it's just too much. I don't. I have a family. I have still a high schooler. I have a college kid at home. I have graduate now at home. I have a husband. I have life here. We have church. We have friends that we're making in the area stuff. I have stuff to. I don't have that kind of the mental capacity.
So my husband's
But
just on there just, and
just
then
mindlessly do.
he'll say, this is so stupid. And I'll be like, then why are you on there? Like, but he'll be like, honey, watch
The
this.
reality of it.
Yeah, he'll show it to me and he'll go, this person has 1.2 million followers. He's like, this is stupid shit.
Totally.
But you know why you keep seeing her stupid shit? Because you keep
Because
watching her
right,
stupid
right,
shit.
right,
That's
right,
why you
right.
keep seeing it.
Well, I mean, there was this one person that I remember following for a long time until recently, and she's literally mentally something's wrong. Like there's something wrong.
Is that the
And
lady you
so
sent me?
yes. And that rabbit hole of mine was a rabbit hole of all rabbit holes. Where's this person from? Why is nobody helping her? Why does she keep putting these posts out? What's happening? I'm curious. Is today
Cray
lucid
cray.
day? Is today crazy day? I don't know. And my brain, I realized one day that my brain was trying to rationalize what was happening and try to fix it somehow. Like maybe I don't, what the heck was that? So I had to like literally block all of her social because I didn't even follow her. That's what I said that wrong because I wasn't following her. I literally just kept having it show up in my
Because you're
scroll.
watching it so much. Yeah.
Yes. And I was like, this has got to stop. This is consuming a little piece of my chunk of brain that I don't have excess to give. So we're not doing that. That's the reason I get on.
I don't think I really unfollow that many people on Instagram, to be honest with you. But like on Facebook, I will snooze them for 30 days because
I love the snooze button.
I love the snooze button. I
Yes.
generally love this person and enjoy this person and
Right.
consider them my friend. But like if they're going on some tangent about something and it seems to be like going on for days and days and days, and I see
Right.
several of these same particular kind of posts, you just need a break from you. Just like 30 days of a break and then we can go back to where we were before.
I kind of agree. I have to also say that there's this part of me that is in my midlife. I'm just unwilling to deal with certain things. And so if I get a little pissy or something over the idea that it's
Mhm.
showing up on my stories or whatever, I don't even care. I'll just, you know what? Let's just snooze this for a hot second so my mental state can come back to where I do feel the same kind of joy over that person
Yeah.
that I once did.
And right now I'm just gonna tell our audience it's freaking politics. Like I'm over some of it. I'm
No,
over
I
some
know,
of
I
it.
know.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter
I
which
need
side of the coin you're on, does it?
Yeah, I need a snooze from it. So
For
anyways,
real.
so yes, audience, please tell us like why do you scroll on social media? Would love to know that.
I
But
also have another question though. I want to know something else. And that is how do you, if you are somebody who's doing your work, how do you actually keep it like the real of you versus like the Instagram reel? You know the
yeah,
difference? Like the
yeah,
perfection piece that we were talking about a little bit earlier. How do we do that?
yeah,
If you've done that, I want to hear from you because to me, that's the authenticity that I'm always after. I don't come on and just share anything. Like I try not to. How do I
yeah,
be just real? So I'd like to hear how you keep real.
yeah. I would too. I'd love that because I feel like sometimes I don't know. The real me feels kind of boring, but the fake me doesn't seem like anything I'd want to post. So yeah, I would love to know that too.
Yeah.
When I was on my vacation and I said I was going to collect some material to use for a future purpose, I Jennifer, I have to tell you, I barely picked up my phone the whole time we were gone. We're talking 2 weeks. Barely picked up my phone,
Yeah.
hardly took any pictures or videos or anything, which is unlike me because I always like want to take pictures I can look back at later. We have one of those Google Home things, and my camera roll from my phone is connected to it. So it's constantly, scrolling through pictures, and my husband will go, "Oh, where was that taken?" I have this like really uncanny ability to remember like where photos were taken.
Yeah.
Like, "Oh, that's when we were blah, blah, blah," and I'll tell him. So I usually love to take pictures because I love the memories. I love being able to look back at them. And I do not regret for 1 second not picking up my phone hardly at all for 2 weeks. I do not regret it at all, even if it means I don't have pictures to look back at. It was the most amazing feeling of freedom and no pressure. And like you could just stay in the moment. I would say I would rather just be present. I'd rather
Yeah.
just be present than to worry about how many photos I have on my phone, you
You know,
know?
you bring up a really good point, and I think that this is something that anybody who's in our age group probably can remember a time when there was no such thing as all of this. You had to take a camera with you, and then there was the disposable cameras that showed up, and you had Polaroids that showed up, but it was never we didn't take our memories with us. We have to remember them in our brain. And the
Right.
only way that I think that I truly remember those memories in the depth that I do is because that's all we had. That's how we did it. I can still see things from when I was 16 in my mind. Whereas if you ask me about the last year, I'm going to struggle to think about that unless I go back to my photos and look and see, well, what did I get? What did I get? I'll give you a great example. Just the other day, we had Jack's senior moments where we had to take a jillion pictures,
A jillion.
and I can honestly tell you now my problem is that I look at them and I'm like, well, which ones do I get rid of? I don't want to get rid of it. What if I need this? He's posing in the same exact spots, but oh, this one, his eyes are open. This one, his eyes are open a little more. What in the heck? This is the world we've created with our stuff. And so I think editing in that, and that brings me to the point of like, where are we at with like, what kind of stuff did you come up with in your break where you have actually formed, hey, you know what? If I was going to tell somebody just coming into this or somebody who's already in it, what to do to change the atmosphere with your social, what would you say?
Hmm. Well, I think I would probably look at it more like a scheduling thing in your day instead of just, waking up and like a lot of people will get up and get on their phone immediately or,
Right.
open up your email inbox immediately or whatever it is. I think I would say like, don't put that pressure on yourself like the first thing of the day. Like, give yourself a little bit of breathing space to get centered in your day and then just schedule it as part of the routine. Like, when I was saying like my minimum required effort, make your minimum required effort maybe 15 to 20 minutes of content creation. Just schedule it at some
Mhm.
point in your day. And then just like everything else, like making your bed or cooking dinner or doing a little laundry, it just becomes just part of the day and it's not so much pressure. So that's kind of what came to mind for me. What about you?
I think for me, I say take the breaks. I know that sounds horrible, but I say take the breaks and recognize the value of it. Like the slowing down piece of it. What's interesting to me is that no, I don't really want to get back into the daily grind of like sending reels out and trying to do all the stories and make sure that I'm posting enough, et cetera, et cetera. And so there is a piece of me that now says, after taking this breather, that as we slowly return to social media, I don't want it to feel the same way it did before. Instead, I'm going to take it gingerly and I'm going to put it out there when it actually means something or when I know that I'm putting something out there that isn't feeling insta fake. It's
Yeah.
just it's going to be genuine, more authentic. And then I think also taking the time while I'm in the middle of it all to do things that I truly love.
I enjoy.
Yeah, like, going and working out or going to take a walk outside in nature or read a book. Go watch some British mystery TV, which is something that Stephen and I do. I feel like you could do a lot of things, but something that takes your brain away from it so you have that relaxation of like not the pressure of just focusing on your social.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. But also just being like smart about it. Look, I don't think that you should spread yourself too thin. I think each one of the social media platforms has a very different space for
Yeah.
things, a very different purpose and algorithm and feel towards it. And if you don't really understand that and you're just taking one piece of content and posting it in all the spaces, like you're probably not going to see very much success on one of those platforms. If you know Instagram really well and you've kind of figured out how to do your thing on Instagram, like just master Instagram and kind of just stay
Yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
when you feel like you've got that so much under control that it feels almost like chewing gum, then like maybe go learn Facebook's algorithm and Facebook's feel. Someone said once like, people go live all the time on Instagram. I've been there. I've been in that moment in time where I did a lot of lives, but you don't do that so much on Facebook. Like you wouldn't go live every day on Facebook. Like there's a difference between the platforms on how you present yourself. Like YouTube, much more long format. Like people will stay on YouTube longer and watch long format. So
Hmm.
you got to kind of know which platform you're going to be on. But when you decide to spread your wings and go to different platforms, try to take something that you've already created and change it up a little bit to work for the other platforms instead of recreating the wheel every single time.
That's a
That'd
good
be
piece of
another thing.
information right there, for sure. I don't think that that's a thought that everybody has, but I know that in all the training that you've done in the last couple of years, I feel like you've got that pretty much marketed down in a good way.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Sure. I would love to know from the audience if you've taken a break and come back, what would be some advice that, someone in the audience would give as to how did you get back into it? Like, like I was talking about my minimum required effort. Do you have a little like tip or trick you can tell
Right.
us, like,
What
how
would
you
that
actually,
minimum be?
yeah, what would it be? Because I think of it kind of like the person who says, I'm going to start going to the gym next week. Or maybe tomorrow. I'm going to start my diet tomorrow. I'm going to go to the gym next week, whatever it is. What's that thing with social media that makes you stop saying tomorrow, tomorrow, next week, and makes you actually just put both feet back in the ring? I'd love to
Oh,
know that.
that's such a good question because that's the hardest one, coming
Yeah.
back. Yeah, that first one actually is the
Mhm.
hardest.
For sure. I mean, if what we both want is to build a community and we have both come to the realization that sometimes meeting people in real life, the real world offline,
Yeah.
isn't as easy as what it used to be. Social media is kind of where it's at as far as like building that kind of community and connection with women from all over the place. The woman I was talking about earlier, the Facebook post, she lives in the UK. I would never have met her if it weren't for the podcast and
For
social
real.
media. It's just too much of a draw to see different things from different perspectives other
Yeah.
than just the little world that I live in. So I can't see myself getting off of it, at least from the scrolling standpoint. Now, as far as the posting standpoint, maybe that's a little easier to see.
Could maybe, yeah,
Yeah.
let go of that one area that we're both kind of like, I don't want to do that. But I am going to do that. And then I'll probably love it again. There is a moment when once you jump in again, I have found from taking smaller breaks that you just have to get over that bump and then you're
Yeah.
fine. You're like,
Yeah,
okay, I
for
can do this
sure.
again. Yeah,
Well, this has been such an interesting conversation today. I
it
feel like
has.
we might come back and visit it again in the future at some point.
I also
Yeah.
wonder just after we hear the comments, what others have to say about it. Like, how would that make a difference in the way that I see this? And I am open to that conversation. So feel free.
We know you don't have to be here, but you are, and we appreciate that. You can help us grow this community by liking, commenting, and sharing this podcast with your friends. Also, by liking and following us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, or anywhere else you listen to your favorite podcasts. You can find all the links in the show notes below. Just look for Kellums and Grossi. And thank you so much for being a part of it. The content of Kellums and Grossi podcast is intended for entertainment and general informational purposes only. We are not lawyers, therapists, or other licensed professionals, and nothing on this podcast should be taken as professional, medical, legal, or financial advice. Always consult a qualified professional before making decisions or taking actions based on what you've heard here today. Your use of our content is at your own risk.